Dean Hunger is one of the best all-around talents to ever play basketball at Utah State. When he was named Big West Conference Player of the Year in 1980, he averaged almost 21 points and 9 rebounds a game. He shot over 61% from the floor, which still ranks him 8th all-time in Aggie single-season shooting. He still ranks in the Aggie top 10 in many statistical categories, was twice first-team All-Big West, and as a senior was an academic All-American. He led the Aggies to 3 postseason tournaments and was later the Houston Rockets' second pick in the 1980 draft. Brand new USU Athletics Hall of Famer Dean Hunger.
Reflecting on my experience at Utah State, it really was being part of a team, a family, and the community of Logan really came around us and made us, for lack of a better word, feel like heroes. I'm not sure that we were, but I think they put us on a pedestal and we had to be careful about what we were trying to do. And some of the memories I enjoy most, I think, were when I was interacting with elementary school students or junior high students or even high school students, talking about my experience playing and how important it is for them to get an education and do those kinds of things. So those things are memorable, but I think the camaraderie with team members, some of the fans, we had some traditions with fans. Sam and Roberta Rothwell, I haven't had contact with them for years, but Roberta used to hand me a Werther's mint. Every time we ran off the court, she would be waiting for me at the tunnel and would give that to me before we went up for our final instruction and came back to the game. So just some little things like that were memorable and helpful to me, and letting us know that they cared about us as people, as players, and then those kinds of things. Well, of course, we didn't have a three-point line, so the big guys weren't attracted to that to try to work on their game. And the European style of basketball was not very prevalent at the time. So I was 6'8", and was more of a natural power forward, I would say, but a lot of times I was pressed into service to play center from time to time. So I worked a lot when I was younger with both hands playing inside, and I felt comfortable with either hand when I was, let's say, within 3 feet of the basket. I tried to hit the offensive rebounding pretty hard, so the shots I was taking, the fast break opportunities, and I tried to get out and run as much as I could. And those kind of things probably helped me with the shooting percentage, but I also tried to go outside 15 to 17 feet, something like that, and took as many shots as I could handle, I guess. The difference between Dutch and Rod in Rod's first year, probably not very significant. I think that Rod wanted to play a little more up-tempo, and we tried to run a lot. I think we were close to the lead in scoring throughout the country as a team, maybe in the top 2 or 3 or something like that. So we like to run up and down the floor, which was a great game to play, and probably not a lot of differences other than that, but very similar, especially with Rod being the first-year head coach, having worked with Dutch for so many years. I look back with some fond memories when we were independent. So when I was a freshman, we had an opportunity to go into Pauley Pavilion and play UCLA. And John Wooden had actually retired, but we had a chance to meet him during one of the practices. That was a highlight of my career. That same year, we had a chance to go back and play Indiana, who the previous year won the national championship. Kent Benson, Scott May, some of those people. And I got into the end of the game because they were beating us so badly as a freshman. I remember trying to rub up against Scott Benson, who must have weighed at least 300 pounds or something like that. I probably weighed 175. So we had some great experience doing that. And then when the conference came about, it was, winter in Logan, let's go to Santa Barbara and try to study. So we had some great experiences there. The facilities were a little bit different. We played in an old opera house in Pacific, I believe, in Stockton, California. The floor was literally off center. It was actually, if you remember, one of the corners was maybe lower by 6 inches from the regular pursuit of the floor. So we found some differences in the facilities, but I think in terms of competitiveness, and we love to travel and go to California for 3 or 4 days at a time, and we had a great experience there.
What was your reaction to this honor when you learned you were going to be put in the USU Athletic Hall of Fame?
I was very, very, not surprised, but I think humbled in terms of how that came about, and it's a great honor. It's a singular honor for me in my career, for my family, for the teammates that I was with, for the coaching staff, and I think you have to attribute that as well to some of the fans. So I don't look at it as something that I did, but something that collectively we did together, and I don't think there's ever been a person that's been in the Hall of Fame in a team sport that can say they did it on their own. That's just not possible. You know, I went to Utah State, had a wonderful experience. I met my wife, the former Shelley Haslam there. We've been married for 32 years. We've known each other for 34, 35 years, and that's the best thing that ever happened to me. So there's no regrets, and you know, the coaching staff, the team members, and the experience I had there was without par, in my opinion.